Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Super Fantify. This being a show where we talk about TV shows of the supernatural, fantasy, and or science fictional genre. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about Mecha-Ude, Mechanical Arms, Season 1, Episode 2. Last episode I said I'd probably just call it Mechanical Arms. We'll see if I keep this up or not. But either way, we're picking up where the last episode left off, and Kagami, who already ended up figuring out Hikaru's identity, now show up. And they're waiting for their opportunity because he realized, like, oh, he's just a middle schooler, but we can't show him any mercy if it means getting back the trigger arm. Which, that was kind of a debate I had last episode. It does seem like he is very special, which begs the question, as we find out at the end of the episode, he's got a sibling. I wonder, is that the only sibling he has? Because they do look similar, so I'm what's it, Fist? And I'm like, I'm so curious how that works in regards of, is Alma extra special? That's why Alma's the trigger arm versus like maybe Alma's brother is still just like a Mecha-Ude. Like there is a delineation that you're in a special class. Are you the only trigger arm? Are there others? Because you have a sibling, are they also a trigger arm? I don't know. Is it going to be kind of like a Virgil and Dante? You know, like both of them like had a piece of the pendant. Like if you go back to like OG Devil May Cry type of situation. So I'm wondering, is it like you're two halves of a whole type of thing, or what? Or is it just all about Alma because he seems to be the most special one? So I don't know. But either way, other than that, he's still got to deal with Aki chasing him down and almost suggesting like, well, let's talk to her. But he's like, once again, Hikaru seems to be like super awkward. I mean, considering everything last episode, it's like she's scary, so I don't know. But he's also very like, I don't know if passive would be the word, but it's like it seems like he doesn't do well. Like he has friends and stuff, but it does still seem like he really heavily keeps to himself type of thing. And I don't know what to fully make of that. Like I said, like last episode, there's certain elements of like he just seems like he hesitates a lot, and I'm wondering, is there more to that? But anyway, Aki's saying like, oh, I'm hired to be your bodyguard. We'll look after you. We're going to protect Alma. So, but he manages to run away. And then I love that his friend Misu, which I was wondering, like, does he actually have a crush on her? But she's trying to set up, because later on she's like, oh my God, they were in the bathroom together. And then she finds out like, oh my God, you're trying to chase after Hikaru, but he keeps like getting away from you. So it's like, oh, like, how about this? Like, how about I set you guys up? So, and she's playing like matchmaker. You know, at first he was worried. He's like, oh my God, like, don't mess with Misu. But it's like, oh no, she's super friendly. And he realizes how simple-minded Aki is. I talked about it last episode. This episode emphasizes it even more, how much of a, like, she is like a, like, she's very bullheaded. She's very like simple and just like, yo, I'm a rush through like fist swinging first. I don't want to overthink things. And it's kind of like, oh, you're kind of an idiot, because it's like she immediately forgot about how Hikaru was focused on the cookies Misu was getting for her. So, she, like I said, she plays like the in-between, sent the note to Hikaru and ends up dragging him to like this abandoned school. And she's like, yep, I'm not letting you out until you guys figure this out. Like, go talk to her. And it's just like, oh, come on. Like, yeah, just he kind of can't say no to her. Like, that's what I'm like, I think he likes her, but yeah, Aki kind of fills them in on certain things. It's like, right, almost a trigger arm. There's two organizations. There's the Kagami, and then there's the organization she's a part of, Arms. I think I talked about this last episode. When you just had the word Arms by itself, I immediately think of Wild Arms. But either way, what I think it's so interesting is like when Hikaru kind of points out the circumstances with Alma, and she's baffled because she's like, no, that shouldn't be possible. He bound it with your hoodie, but she's like, that doesn't make any sense because you're supposed to bond with the flesh, because there's that A word, what is it, arbitrium? It's like some kind of something that ends up allowing a Mecha-Ude to connect with a human, and I guess that's where they might kind of derive their power from, but it's like from human contact and human flesh, and it's like, why? I guess maybe there's like a special thing that's inside of human bodies that Mecha-Udes feed off of, or it sustains them. Maybe that's how it is. But it's like, so she's racking her brain on trying to figure it out. And I love her arms are like, how dare you do that? Like, don't make Aki think too much. It's like, oh, she is an idiot. Like, her brain overloads. She likes things simple and clean. It's like, yo, I have to beat someone. Cool. I'm a rush right through, as I brought up last episode and keep talking about this episode. But it turns out she's just like, okay, I'm going to take Alma from you, because it's like, you haven't really, like, in her mind, it's like Alma hasn't fully been derizzed in whatever, like, because Alma was already kind of active even beforehand, because he reached out to Hikaru. Like, Hikaru was the only one who could hear his voice, so there's something there to it. There is a bond, and that's special in that regard. Of even though like he fused with like that coat, which I'm wondering, does the coat have the hoodie have some significance or something? Because like maybe because he's the trigger arm, he has special circumstances. But it's like, why is it that, because he's not fully Deriz, as they're saying, like you're not fully connected, but he was able to use some of his power last episode, but he can't at all summon the power this episode. And I guess it's like because he's not like, it was like a small burst of whatever, I guess, power Alma might have had in reserve. He burnt it all last episode against Aki. And so, once again, like maybe, and I brought this up too, maybe there's an element to like being able to kind of put your Mecha-Udes away versus having yours active all the time. Like because of that, maybe it puts a drain on its power, so he's like really just losing power the more he's activated. But we don't really know so far. Once again, everything I'm saying is just pure speculation. But like they started trying to twist the whole situation to be like, well, he's trying to trick you because you don't have your memories, Alma. He's trying to trick you. It's like, what are you trying to get out of this? And it's like once again, like they haven't given him a chance to explain, but it's like Hikaru's the one that heard him. No one else did. He wasn't exactly close to Alma when he heard Alma's voice reaching out to him. So it's like no one else heard his voice despite you being in the vicinity. Like only Hikaru did. So I think that speaks volumes. But yeah, they're trying to take Alma away because they're thinking like, oh, you have some ulterior motive. You're trying to trick him. Like because you're not really connected with him. You never really derizzed him. And because of that, like, you're not really bound together. We don't need you. We only need Alma. But it still begs the question, even if that's the case, he can't be too far away from Hikaru. Like, so how do you contend with that? Like, there's still something there. But either way, the people from Kogami, was it Tosu and was it Wanner or something like that? The guy with the sonic waves, which we did get confirmation on the whole shackles thing. That the reason why their Mecha-Udes don't talk is because they forced them to be slaves. It's like we use these very specific technology to bind them and force them to our side. It's interesting too because I'm curious to see, well, because we see that like the Mecha-Udes can have different modes because the one Tosu who has their sniper rifle, it also turned into a glider. I wonder, do some of them have like one or two forms, or can you unlock multiple forms? Because we see with Aki, she was able to turn hers into like jets propulsion for a little bit. So I also love that like her, because they even said it too, where I think it's interesting, where it's like she has two instead of one, which everyone does. Everyone has like one Mecha-Ude, she has two. I thought they were one Mecha-Ude split, but I'm curious if and I brought that up last episode, does she have a mark from where her Mecha-Udes come from on both sides of her leg? And especially with like the opening, and you see like a little, I don't know if that's supposed to be like Aki as an her as she is present day and her younger self, or is that supposed to be like a young sister she had? Because the intro and the outro kind of focus on it, which I should also say, like, I really like the intro and the outro, just the images and stuff they show, but also just like the songs, especially the ending. I really, really like the ending song. It's like, I don't know, it's very beautiful, but I'm wondering, is like she kind of inherited the second Mecha-Ude from someone else, like a sibling or something. I'm curious. We'll see. But yeah, like what's his name? Like I said, it's Wanner or whatever. He can use like a sonic wave. It doesn't affect Mecha-Udes, but it affects humans. It disorientates them. I love that Aki. Oh, the other thing I wanted to talk about too, before I got sidetracked, before I went on my diatribe, was like I like how like both her they're two different personalities. So it's like you technically have three personalities clashing when it comes to Aki, because both of her Mecha-Udes are kind of, it's almost like a left brain, right brain decision. It's like, oh, we should go left because this is logical. It's like, no, we should go right. We should go right because my instincts tell me that. And she's like, we should go down, which ended up being the right choice because that led to her finding um, Hikaru. I also love that Misu like finally came inside and saw like Aki straddling him, and he'd be like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." She's like, "Oh my god, this is like a rom-com. It's happening so fast," and she ran away. But either way, Aki told Hikaru to leave with Alma, and he did. He was kind of hesitant at first, but did. But Alma was like, "No, we can't just leave them to go." And it's like, "Well, no, she told us to do it." Like that's the thing of like Hikaru's not your protagonist of like, "Oh, I'm ready to jump in, put my life on the line." Like I said, I feel like there's a little bit more to why he's a little skittish and hesitant, and like why he hesitates and why he isn't just immediately like. Once again, it's like and I think that plays into probably like what makes them polar opposites. I think Aki is all instinct, and then I think Hikaru's the type of person that overthinks everything. He's just and like I said, I do believe there's a reason for both of them having the personalities that they do. But Alma wanted to go off on his own. He's like, right, I punched a hole in the wall. You get through this. I'll go back and help Aki and the others. And then Hikaru's just like, all right, fine. You can't even get that far without me. He's like, I knew you'd come and help me. So it's like, what do we do? It's like, well, we got to come up with a plan. He's like, oh, you have a plan? He's like, of course you were going to help them, Alma, without even thinking this through. It's like, it's kind of like a newborn baby. Like that's the interesting thing because Alma has all the characteristics you expect of like your protagonist of I'm so like I'm gonna help everyone, I'm the good. But it's like Hikaru doesn't have like that personality that fully always meshes with some protagonists. Some protagonists have that personality of I'm reluctant, I'm not confident. But yeah, they came through because Hikaru has the noise canceling headphones, which I love that came into play this episode. I think it's interesting too when they ended up it was Warner who ended up capturing Aki by disorientating her and then shackled her arms and like, go ahead and do this. Like you could still use them, go ahead, but she refuses because it's like even if I could, I would never like put them in a position like where I would use them against their own will. But it's like, they view Arms views Mecha-Ude as like, oh, they're our partners, our friends, we gotta help them. Whereas Kagami is like, they're tools, they're meant to be used for whatever purpose they have. But it's not like Hikaru had like the greatest plan. He came through, but it's like, well, he doesn't know how to really use Alma. Plus, he was putting all his bet on Aki saving the day, but she got captured, so kind of had to make that work. But luckily, she got freed and grabbed Tosu, took her headphones. She got disorientated when Wander ended up attacking her, which I love. He had this whole thing of like he likes strong women, but he thinks strong women are good, women who act tough are bad. But he's like, oh, I can't hurt you, I don't want to do this, oh, I'm so sorry. And then like Aki disposes of him like a powerful uppercut, if I remember correctly. But I love that like the building is falling apart now because Aki is like once again just kind of like a bull just charging ahead and damage the building without really thinking about, so the building's collapsing. I love that Tosu takes off without water. He's like, oh my god, look at you, you're so like I forgot, like he was praising her for leaving him because he's like, oh my god, that's so cool and so mature of you to do that. I'm like, are you really leaving him behind? I was like, yeah. It seemed like they're kind of the losers of the group because they're like, yeah, we get no respect. And it's like, I wonder, are they kind of more so like the Jesse and James of Team Rocket? It kind of feels like that's who they are. But it does seem like Warner ended up getting caught. So it all worked out in the end. But then like the leaders from ARMS show up and they are feeling Hikaru and Alma in on like, right, we need your help. We need your help for this fight. We need to stop Kagami from doing what they're doing, enslaving the Mecha-Udes. Because once again, I know they're aliens, but we don't know what world they came from, why they landed here on Earth. Like, was there a war going on or what? Like, are they refugees on this planet? How long has this Mecha-Ude situation been happening on Earth? Why is Kagami doing what they're doing? So many questions. But ultimately, Alma wants to help, because that's who he is. And Hikaru is like, all right, fine, I'll reluctantly help. But then you had the tag where it's thing of, no, we don't need you. You don't need to do anything. But it's like, you kind of do still need him, because once, not unless they're going to try and fix the situation, but it's like he can't be too far, Alma can't be too far away from him without, but maybe they're like, well, once we like, maybe they're like, he's not de-riz, and if we can de-riz him to an actual person, someone more capable, someone we believe can do a better job than this kid, then it's all going to be fine. Maybe that's going to be kind of like the justification they'll potentially have. And that's probably might be the approach that they have going forward. We'll have to wait to see how that all pans out. But we also have the dude from last episode who was after Alma being like, oh, the trigger arm was taken and it seemed like he's sick without it. He took, interesting to throw this out there immediately, that there are artificial Mecha-Udes, and he has one called Ouroboros, so it's like, oh, it'll be befitting. And it's like his hair is naturally white, or maybe, like, I don't know, but then it shifts into green, so I'm wondering, like, what that I mean, maybe that's just a byproduct of the Mecha-Ude being activated, or maybe there's more to it. A lot of questions, but some interesting developments regardless. I'm excited to see where the next episode ultimately ends up taking us going forward with all of this. But really, that's all I wanted to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.